brought over a herd of horses one time, and we ran 50. We caught 50 in one shot in that corral. Well, then it was more horses than we could handle. So each one of us picked out 2 horses to bring back home with us. And we brought about 10 head home with us. And that was the worst. If you'd have been blindfolded and picked out the horses, you couldn't have picked out worse ones. So we picked out the prettiest ones. But I had a little mare, a sorrel mare that had a 4 white stocking legs and a white mane and tail and a white strip down her forehead. And I rode her all winter, one winter, to feed Bill Umby's cattle for him. He was in the hospital. And every time you got on her and got off, every time you got off, got back on her, she'd buck with you. Every time. And we had them long leather on the back of our saddles, you know, for tying stuff on behind the saddle. And if a sagebrush or a chaparral picked one of them up and it come ahead like that and flying ahead, she'd throw her head down and start bucking. And I rode her in 2 feet of snow and it didn't slow her down. So come spring, we had 17 head that we branded. And we didn't want to raise no more colts out of them, so we branded them. And we turned them loose and they went back to the reservation. So then we could go down to the Indian Agency and get a permit to be over there for so many days at a time looking for our horses that were branded.
That you had turned loose on purpose.
We never even looked for our horses. We didn't want them, or we wouldn't have turned them loose. And then that time, the Indians caught us one time over there in Sadis Creek, and they blocked the road so we couldn't get out of there. And we had our trucks over there. We got pretty brave sometimes. We hauled all our horses over to the reservation by truck, and unloaded them. Went in the spring of the year, that one spring. And them Mormons I worked for, the old man, Al Shub, Dale and Lloyd and I went one way looking for wild horses, and Al and Stan and Ross went a different direction. And so Lloyd and Dale and I, we couldn't find a horse anywhere, so we came back and we had to swim our horses across Sadis Creek because the water, this is the spring of the year, the water was pretty high. And anyway, here the Indians had the road blocked. And they started asking us, what we were doing there, blah, blah, blah. So then, pretty soon here come Al Shoup and Stan and Ross, and they had a wild horse. And Al was leading it. Now, you think them Mormons ain't strong. He had his lariat in his hand, and he had the bridle reins in his left hand, and he had a hold of that lead rope for that wild horse. And when a wild horse come up there and saw us, it just stiffened up like this. And Al had it like that and never even straightened his arm out. He just skidded along. He just skidded along on the ground, digging a furrow. And so he knew right away what the deal was. And when he come up there with that horse, he hollered across. He said, "Lloyd, is this one of the horses you're looking for?" And Lloyd, he looked across the creek and he says, "No," I said, "I never seen that horse in my life." So Al, he just reached over, jerked the hackamore off and it turned it loose. Now the Indians didn't have any evidence.
Didn't have any evidence.
He turned loose the evidence.
Good story. What year would that have been?
And then the Indians were still nasty about it. And so Lloyd says, "Well, I got a permit." I mean, this surprised me that day. He says, "We got a permit." And the Indian, he said, "Well, I want to see it." He said, "I got it right over there in the truck." And so he walked over there and he pulled his 32-20 Colt out. And he said, "Now," he said, "you guys start walking and none of you look back." And they wheeled her. 2 years later, we pulled them out of the mud. And they kept looking at Lloyd. I mean, I'm sure that in the back of their mind, they recognized him, but they wasn't sure. But they got stuck and we took our horses down there. And that was on the reservation too. And we threw onto the bumper of the truck 4 lariats and pulled the truck out of the mud.
What year did all that happen? When was that?
Oh, God, 1951 or 2, somewhere in there.
Really?
Yeah.
64 years ago. I was born in 1952.
Yeah.
Hey, Karen, if you've got a piece of paper, Greg wants to do a timeline.
I
We're going to date, and he's going to do the date some of this,